We can probably start by just introducing ourselves very quickly. I assume most of you have been on the main stage, listening to the talk that I had at 10 a.m. But I can just introduce myself quickly before Carina takes the stage. Julia is my name. I work as a head of data analytics and AI in Avo Consulting, which means basically that I work with very different customers in terms of size and industry and help them to succeed with their AI initiatives. And very much of that work has nothing to do with developing the algorithms, but has to do with all the bits and pieces that have to be in place to implement something that actually creates the value that you expected before you started the initiative, but also kind of engages the right people so that the initiatives that companies do get the right support long term. Carina, would you like to say a couple of words about who you are?
Also from my part, thank you so much for joining us today in the breakout session. My name is Carina. I'm originally from the Netherlands and I'm now also based in Norway, working as a manager at Avo Consulting, where I'm one of the technical project managers and low-code development expert. And my professional background lies in a combination of archaeology and software engineering. Today is my first time at Women in Data Science, so I'm very happy to be here.
So if you were not a part of the talk we had just before that, maybe we can go further and just say a couple of words about what Avo Consulting is. So we are a Norwegian consultancy company that helps our customers with their digital transformation journey. And in practice, it just means that we help our customers apply and adopt technology that makes them run a more profitable and efficient business. And we are technology agnostic, so we use different kinds of technologies. The starting point is always a business problem that we will solve. So, and within that, we have definitely some favorites. And since our customers often really want to get started and create benefits very quickly, we are a big fan of low-code tools. So basically technology that allows us to design, implement, test, and deploy very quickly in order then to get quickly to the kind of benefit realization part of any project that we have. And within that space, we work with everything from robotic process automation, conversational AI, application development, data analytics, visualization, and other kinds of areas. So when it comes then to the technologies that we use, we know that in itself, it is really not as much value creation if you take a technology isolated. But in order to succeed with creating actual business value by using technology, you have to work with the organization and you have to work with the people that work with that organization. And that's why on the next page you see our mission, which is quite unique, where we say that, okay, we use technology to basically create a more happier and more human lives for the people that we work with. And we really believe in that. We really believe that we can make technology serve us if we implement it in the right way. It can reduce the number of mundane, repetitive tasks that we have to do. It can create better decision processes for us, and it can basically make our daily work feel much more fun and creative. And having that kind of point of view, as I already showed you in the talk before, we have worked with a lot of different kinds of organizations and tried to structure our understanding of, okay, what does it actually take to succeed? And especially when it comes to AI, it is such a cross-disciplinary work that you have to do to succeed with that we created this AI due diligence framework, where before implementing a technical solution, we analyze the processes and we get our hypothesis in place on what where we could use AI to support solving a business problem. And then we do some kind of due diligence on top of that, and only then the cases that survive the due diligence and get a good score on that actually get put into implementation and hopefully set in production and adopted. And there you have the 3 pillars that I talked about in my previous talk when it comes to business due diligence, technology due diligence, and law and ethics. So basically making sure that the cases that you choose to go ahead with, that they create business values, that they are designed in a way that support current processes, that they are supported by the users that will be using those models, and of course are technologically possible to solve, and also are within the rules and regulations that we have to follow if we are to create digital trust with our employees and customers. And this breakout session will really be about one of the important pieces in that due diligence puzzle. And it is really about creating a user experience, creating a process flow that will ensure, in fact, that the users will adopt your model and use it in a way that will create the benefits that you are looking for when you will invest in that case. So already in my previous talk, I talked about this example from the banking sector. So if you jump to the next slide, and what I presented to you was really this financial consultant perspective working in a bank, who basically advise their customers on the different product choices that they make and services that they buy from a bank. And those financial consultants, they work in a CRM system, and they have basically each and every day a list of customers that they call that they believe have a need for a specific product or service that their bank can provide. And in this case, the model that has been created is a next best product model. So the idea here was that we could use all the available data about the customers, everything we have in the CRM system, everything we know about them in terms of their engagement with the bank, the demographics, other open sources. So the whole kind of all the knowledge we have about the customers. The hypothesis here that you could use that to predict which customers are ready to buy something else from us that they haven't bought yet, and what kind of product would it be? What would be the product that we provide them with when we call them? So the model was developed with good enough results to be set in production, and the choice fell on keeping the process the same way that it was before. So it would still be a list of customer names that the financial consultants would come to work and call to follow up and sell the additional products. And there were introduced 2 new columns there. Next best product, basically what is the product you should pitch when you call your customer, and what is the score that came out of the model. So how high of an accuracy and how much do we believe, or the model believes, that this is the right product for that particular customer. And when that was done, the business metric that was supposed to measure success of this project was, of course, the conversion rate. So how much more do you actually manage to sell by getting this tool in place? And the effect you saw was basically pretty much 0. So there was no effect. There was no effect on upselling any kind of new services that came as a result of that decision-making support model. And of course, what you do in this case is you start talking to the users, so the financial consultants, to understand why is there no effect? And very quickly understand that you have the typical human-machine challenge there, when the humans trust their own ability to know what the customers need because they have done it for a long time, and really this mistrust in an algorithm they don't really understand, and kind of use that as their decision support to call the specific customers. So basically, the model was not used. So the financial consultants did the same thing as they always did, and they didn't trust the model enough to take that into use. So then what do? Well, then you need to start working with the process, and you need to start working with the user interface to really understand whether there are some issues within that space that prevent us from driving the benefits. And in this case, what has been done was that instead of giving a list where financial consultants could choose who to call, they were kind of nudged and forced to call the customers, which were prioritized by the model based on scoring and based on the next best product that the model would recommend. And they would be forced to call that customer and insert a resolution before they were allowed to go further in daily work and call the next customer. So here it was basically a decision made for the users that, yes, we will use that model, and you have no way around it. And the effect you have seen there is basically a significant jump in the conversion rate of 27%. So 27% more upsell than it was before the model was forced upon the financial consultants. And once you can prove those kind of results, and you keep the process as it is for a while, and you gain the trust from those users that are using that process, that model, that's when you can start considering going back to the old process where the consultants have much more freedom to choose who they call. Because you already instilled the trust in that model, you will probably know that, okay, they know now that they can achieve better results by using the model than not. And that's when you can revert and kind of apply the same process that it was there. So here, the user experience, the way you design the process, the way you design the front end and the actual user sees has been, and as you see, the benefits would have been gone if we didn't work with the user interface in this case. And this is the topic that Carina will take us through now and tell about what are the tools, what are the things you can do, and how can you work with that kind of processes in terms of understanding the process and user needs and connecting that to the benefits and the model that you want to create. So Carina, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Julia. All right. So in the next part, I will talk about, firstly, shortly about what low-code actually is, as we're talking about low-code development. And then we'll go into the process of essentially prototyping AI through low-code. And we will illustrate this process with a practical example to aid understanding there. And we will talk about what kind of tools are beneficial here from our perspective. So what is actually low-code? And perhaps you've also heard the term no-code. And what types of tools are we talking about today? Essentially, both of these terms cover a range of tools that provide acceleration through abstraction and automation. No-code tools typically provide a visual interface that enables users to drag and drop a solution without any use of traditional programming languages. And these tools are commonly used by citizen developers, which is a term for generally business users who are empowered to build functional but generally limited applications. And these business users could be, for example, business designers, business process owners, AI data scientists, and integration specialists. And low-code tools actually have similar functionality, but often allow for more advanced extensibility, which are generally used by the more professional developers and design teams together as a way to streamline work and provide visual ways to efficiently communicate together with the business users. And in many of these tools, the business users can assist in development through specialized tools to ensure a common understanding. And it is these tools that we will mostly be talking about here, as these give the flexibility and scalability to deliver prototyping in AI processes, but also deliver enterprise-grade applications with proper extensibility where necessary. And low-code as a space essentially is recognized by large research companies like Gartner and Forrester, where they have identified multiple categories of these types of tools. For example, application development, but also robotic process automation, but also chatbot development tools, for example, may also be made in low code. In our session today, we place our focus on application development platforms as we focus on the user experience. And these are truly not just meant to create a front-end application, but are in fact full stack platforms that include integrated database modeling, business process management, logic processing, but also built-in integrations to trusted connectors to all the known AI libraries or external databases. So big names here that have proven to be high-end and enterprise-worthy by these big research companies are, for example, Microsoft Power Apps, OutSystems, just to name a few. But there are a lot of high-end players in the market that really fulfill solid requirements here. And as we've also seen, predictions really expect $1 billion increase in low-code use in the next few years. So it's absolutely relevant now to look at this as well. So how can we actually apply prototyping of AI through low-code development here? Before we actually start to work on technical implementation, to also link back to what Julia has been talking about, it's absolutely critical to think about process mapping and design requirements. And here it is vital to critically evaluate the different aspects of what should be made, where it's important to look at the perspectives of both external needs as well as internal needs. So for external, it's the customer who has concrete needs and potential pain points. And for internal, it is functional requirements from all stakeholders involved, but also strategic requirements. For example, what kind of business impact does a model need to have? Then through prototyping, we can actually achieve the following effects, essentially, where testing AI models at different steps in a process can be done through integrating with business process modeling in a user interface. And we can also integrate AI in a seamless user flow by integrating with multiple systems and libraries together. And we can also visually personalize AI content, for example, based on user group, roles, or individuals, depending on the processes involved through low-code development. And through this, it enables us to iterate on AI models by revisiting them through qualified tests of prototyped user interfaces with user groups. In the example that Julia has given, for example, where it first has been tested with a prototype system that forces the user to use the functionality, it builds the trust in the model, and the process can be re-evaluated to be more efficient. It also enables us to analyze the impact of AI design, where the impact can also be optimized by adjusting the interface and the models involved. And a key factor in all these steps is the necessity to have a common understanding between all parties involved, whether it is through workshops or through development and qualified testing, or through analyzing impact. And to achieve this, we have various visual development tools that can help this alignment between various groups of stakeholders. And as there are many ways to design a new solution, it is important to pick tools that enable quick adjustments along the way, where actually we have found various low-code tools that may help with this. Here we would like to illustrate firstly an example of such a prototyping process. In this case, we'll be building a new customer dashboard for customer service representatives. The team wants to prove insight-driven customer service, and they have a few hypotheses about insight that could be useful. They would like to see information about customer relation with the company, existing product, sentiment, and get advice as to the best approach to follow up the customer. More real-time insight could contribute to better customer services, increase sales, and shorter training time for new employees. So a change from a traditional CRM to a 360-degree dashboard is a huge transition from a business and for the customer service employees. And it's quite important to analyze how such a solution should be designed to present information, as it can be defining as to whether the company will achieve these benefits or not. These kind of transitions, low-code development tools, really are invaluable for determining the best design that will support the employees and drive the benefits. The example here, we actually have multiple AI elements that may add benefit to the relation with a customer. We are using speech transcription in order to transform voice to text and make it available for analytics. There is also a real-time sentiment analysis to attempt to determine the overall mood in the conversation. Prediction of the best solution or products is done to propose based on the text analytics that have been done. And conversational guidance is linked to predictions based on the features that the customer already has. So with so many factors involved, there are hundreds of ways to incorporate these analytics and predictions into a solution. And it can be difficult to understand how well a design works before it's used by actual users. So here we are essentially using low-code tools to help deliver this in a flexible and fast way. So what tools can actually bring benefit in this prototyping process for our customer service example case? We will exemplify this through tools that we may and have used ourselves, actually, to realize this, where there are tools to prototype working applications with specific screen flows, so how the user journey is mapped through the solution. Yes,
Carina, I'm sorry. I think the stream has stopped now. I think the main stage has started.
Oh no.
So I'm not sure.
Another timing issue.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so unfortunately.
Yes, definitely. Don't think people hear us anymore, to be honest.
Still see that we have 40 people in the stream.
Yeah, okay, but let's continue. Let's continue until we have to go out. Thanks.
Exactly. Let's just continue then. All right. So with these tools, we can map the user journey through the solution. And we can also map the business processes through the solution with prototypes of working workflow applications with specific assigned process flows between user groups. And together with that, we can integrate machine learning models quickly and easily. This allows to wrap machine learning models essentially in low-code elements to reuse in multiple places through an application, to very easily do qualified tests and pilots with users to determine what level of impact this actually achieves, and if this reaches the desired impact. So specific benefits that this may offer is that we can design and iterate on the user journey, to build and iterate on workflow processes, together with AI models for both of those. And it is absolutely vital for business involvement and cooperation. It increases the efficiency enormously that the business users themselves, the AI data scientists, for example, can actively cooperate with IT and development to ensure alignment and understanding, as they can be hands-on involved in this process. To sum it up, as we go back to the main stage shortly, we just want to summarize some points here. We've been taking a practical look at how this enables AI-driven product adoption. And with inherently visual tools, it is extremely helpful to align and understand the perspectives and expectations of everyone. It helps to work together efficiently by actively involving business users in the process. It helps to quickly build and adjust prototypes, and it enables us to build trust from the design phase through prototyping and qualified testing and analyzing impact. And as we ensure that AI models fit the right requirements for the right situations, we can revisit these designs also based on the qualified tests that we've been doing and aim for continuous deployment. That marks the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for attending. I'm not sure how live we still are for questions, potentially, or if people still... I see that there is at least one question in the chat.
Yeah, maybe I can answer that. I specifically for the case that we showed, I don't have the numbers for it, but it's of course it's very dependent on several things. It's of course the language, the quality of the files, in this case the sound files, because that was transcribed to text before it could be analyzed for sentiment, but also the type of business you're in, what kind of questions can customers have, how rich of a library that is. That will definitely be defining, and also how high the complexity of the inquiries that you get is. So it could be, it could be done pretty quickly with 100,000 example files, but it could demand much more if your business and inquiries coming in are complex and broad. So I think that's probably the best answer I can give right now. I think we should let you go to the main stage and follow up on the talks there. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure, and please get in touch if you have any questions or feedback or anything. We'll be happy to discuss. So thank you so much.